Happy Thursday, everyone. It is kind of tangled up here. It is Thursday, and usually on Thursday you have Bobby doing the Thursday devotion, but you get me instead. Bobby is preaching this Sunday. We're looking forward to that. And he will have his sermon preview on Saturday. So please join Bobby on our YouTube channel and be part of that and find out what he's going to be preaching about. But I have our devotion today. And just to let you know where I am spiritually right now, what my focus has been lately, I've been in the Old Testament. I'm a lover of history. I love history, and so I'm a big fan of the Exodus of the Hebrew people leaving Egypt, being free from their bondage, going in to the wilderness for 40 years, and then finding themselves in the Promised Land. And it's in the Promised Land that that's my jam, right? That's what I really love. I love the book of Judges and Kings and Chronicles, and because it tells the history of the Jewish people. And so I'm in the book of Judges, or now I've kind of left. I'm now in the days of King David. But in the book of Judges, you have to remember when they enter the Promised Land, there are a couple things that I like to point out historically and biblically, is that not all the tribes, you got to remember, not all the tribes go over the Jordan, right? There are, if I remember right, and sometimes my memory fails me, 2 tribes remain east of the Jordan. 10 tribes go over the Jordan. And they're not really a country when they go over the Jordan. They establish themselves as a loose group of people. They're really a confederacy. So, you have the tribe of Benjamin and tribe of Judah in the south, and the rest of the tribes are in the north. And basically, the plan was, once they got over into the Promised Land, is if they were ever in need, meaning the Canaanites were attacking, the tribe of Benjamin, that all the other tribes would come to their aid. And that the tribes were really kind of governed by judges, men and women, because there were women judges. Some people like to forget that, but I don't. Men and women kind of oversaw the well-being of the people, and that they had no reason to have a king because God was their king, right? God was the king of the Jewish people. But over time, the people started clamoring. They said, we want to be like the other nations. We want to be like the other nations, and we too want to have a king. Now, Samuel was the judge at the time, and he warned the people, you don't want a king. We have a king. It's God. That's the only king that matters. But they kept clamoring for a king, and God said, you know what? We'll give him a king. And of course, God's first anointed was Saul. But God, in giving the people a king, said, now, understand, now that you have a king, you're going to have all the issues that you have with kings. Mainly that kings are corrupt individuals. Of course, as Presbyterians, we believe that because we believe in total depravity. All kings are depraved. And there's also this notion of absolute power, too, that God warns them about, right? Kings have absolute power, and the people are helpless. When God was their king, God heard the cries of his people. You're not guaranteed that the king is going to care about the cries of the people. Now, all that being said, why did the Jewish people want a king? Well, because they thought the grass was greener, right? They believed that the grass was greener on the other side of the fence, meaning they were envious of what their neighbors had. They thought, oh, look at Egypt. They have a king. Look at all these other countries. They have a king. We don't have a king. And we would be better off if we had a king. Maybe the Canaanites would stop picking on us, or the Philistines would stop picking on us if we had a king. I think a lot of our problems that we face in life are tied to the fact that we too envy what our neighbors have. I think a lot of our problems that we face, both personally professionally, privately, publicly, can all be tied back to being envious. That we want what our neighbors have. We want their money. We want their job. We might even want their family. We got to be careful about that. We've got to be careful of being envious of others. Years ago, I knew of a family that I admired them from afar. I thought he was it was a minister in his family, and I thought he was I thought he was super cool. I thought he was great. I thought his family was great. I said, I want that family when I grow up. I want to be able to preach like him when I get established in my ministry. I want what they want. But privately, what they had was terrible. The marriage was in shambles. The kids were rebellious. And at the end of the day, that family broke up. We have to be grateful for what God has given us. You're only given one family. You're only given one occupation, I guess. You're only given one life. This is the life God's given you. Now, you can spend all your time and all your effort being envious of others, or you can be grateful for what you have and pour your energy and effort into the gifts that have been bestowed upon you. It's not easy, but I tell you, if what you have is the focus of your life, and you are grateful for what you have, your life will be much better. And you'll be better for it. Just a side note, if you know your Bible well, you will know that the kingdom of Israel only lasted through 3 kings. Saul, which didn't go very well, and King David, which I know David was a man after God's own heart, but David's own son Absalom rebelled against him, threw Israel into a civil war. David had to flee Jerusalem. And then Solomon. And while Israel was its greatest under King Solomon, Solomon's life wasn't a reflection of his faith in God. Far from it. And then after Solomon died, just like other nations, Israel was thrown into a great civil war and divided into 2 kingdoms. And they were never great again. God's people, they're great. But the nation of Israel, the kingdom of David, not so much. Just like other nations. Have a great day. We'll see you hopefully Sunday.